Politicians in both parties are bought and paid for by a class of special interests in this country. Super PAC puppetry, that is the real poison in American politics. Republican and Democrat politicians alike. There are vested donor interests that stop the elected representatives from actually representing the people and only going back to representing the interests of the people who fund them. And it is a cardinal rule now in politics, Leland. I can tell you, as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, every politician dances to the tune of their biggest donor. It's just that in my case, that biggest donor happens to be me.
Public schools, asshole. Protect trans kids.
Climate change is real.
Anybody else have something to say? So make sure.
What's it like being the punching bag of the RNC?
Well, I think RNC's corrupt, and I think both political parties are pretty corrupt. So
My
anyway,
mom's a public school worker, and she deserves to be paid and respected.
I think every person deserves to be respected, but we are failing to do right by our kids in this country. Our achievement gap versus other countries is bad, and we're all in that together. But here's what I will say. The beauty of this country is that you all have the right to express your opinions, and you're doing it peacefully. And even though I disagree with you, I'm proud of you for expressing your views, even if I disagree with you.
Destroyed your job and her livelihood.
No, that's not correct. I do want to fix our public schools, though. And so thank her for her service for me. I really mean that. But we also have to focus on how we're going to improve achievement of our kids. And I think your mom, if she's as earnest as you're describing, I'm sure she is, cares about the same thing. We're not getting there with the existing system we have. So we're going to have to find a better way to do it. And one of the ways we're going to do it is through open debate. You guys are doing your part. I'm going to do mine. Keep it up.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So we got to talk about the loving left, the peace-loving liberals, the tolerant left. Except they're not very loving or tolerant when they get confronted with opinions and political viewpoints that disagree with theirs. And that's what we have to talk about today, as reportedly Vivek Ramaswamy's car was hit by protesters after the protesters confronted Vivek Ramaswamy on some of his views. Now, there are some videos that have come out of Vivek being confronted by protesters, and I want to go ahead and play this clip. Take a look.
And then they just misplaced people from Russia to go to Donbas region because we have steel plants, and you can see the movies.
And the history is
from
long,
around
no
and
doubt
stuff.
about it. But the region, but the
Russia-
fact of the matter is, the regions of the Donbas that are occupied now are not even represented in Ukraine's government for
Do
the
you
last 10
think
years.
Ukraine should be free?
Ukraine should be a sovereign nation. Absolutely.
So
Should be
how
a
is
sovereign
the
nation.
U.S. How is the
But I
U.S.
also
going
think-
to? How is the U.S.
negotiate a path to peace that allows
And
Ukraine
what
to
is
come out
that
with its
path to
sovereignty
peace?
intact. Well,
What
NATO,
does that sovereignty look like to you?
a hard commitment that NATO will not admit
What does
Ukraine.
that sovereignty look like to you?
A hard commitment that
What does
NATO.
that sovereignty look like to you?
He's answering the question.
Whenever you're, tell me when you're done, and then I'll answer the question.
Answer the question.
NATO will not admit Ukraine to NATO and should not admit Ukraine to
Why
NATO.
not?
Because we made a commitment in 1990, and I believe in standing by our commitments, that NATO would not expand 1 inch, not 1 inch past East Germany. That's what James Baker told
Russia
Gordon.
made a commitment that it would not expand its territory.
And so that's
It would not.
what I want to say is I'm very glad that young people are engaged
Answer the
and
question.
passionate about these issues. So the
Answer
fact
the
of the matter is, I believe we have to stand by our commitments, but the job of the U.S. president is to look after U.S. interests and have a reasonable path to peace. And I think the path that we're on right now is not going to be good for Ukraine. It's not going to be good for America. It is taking us closer to major conflict with Russia that is going to be bad for everybody involved. And the people pushing us to do it are an establishment in both parties of people who are making money off that war. That is wrong, and that will change on my watch.
So what do you think about
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? As you can see there, typical left-wing lunatics, they don't believe in allowing free speech, okay? They wouldn't let Vivek really talk and explain his views, even though Vivek was pretty reasonable and he was very tame and he was listening to what they had to say and then answering their questions and giving rebuttals thoughtfully. But again, in lefty Looney Tune world, this is not okay, right? This is not okay. So again, during this campaign stop, which took place in Iowa, the left-wing loonies apparently could not stand the fact that Vivek was anti-war, right? Which is kind of crazy. how you have these young liberals, how they're so pro-war now, right? That's how much the Democrats have brainwashed liberals. Because, I mean, young college liberals historically have been against war, right? But now they're pro-war. Amazing stuff. They're so pro-war that they decided to declare war on Vivek's car. And allegedly, one of the protesters got into their car and crashed into Vivek's car and then gave him and his staff the middle finger and drove off. And again, allegedly, you know, this is pictures of the incident. And the person that crashed into Vivek's car, as you can see, to nobody's surprise, they have typical leftist paraphernalia, right, on the car, okay? Typical leftist paraphernalia. So I want to play a clip here of Ashley St. Clair, who I guess broke this story. Her kind of telling a little bit about what happened.
Absolutely insane. Vivek held his composure so well too. And then this lunatic hits his car and drives off. But I highly doubt that person will see any repercussions to their actions, as these people hardly do. Hello, ALX. Right now, I will be voting for Trump, but I really do love the things Vivek is saying. I think, especially today, the way he held his composure with these protesters and these young people asking questions, the way he was able to transition the other guy who disagreed with, fantastic. That ginger NPC was so annoying, yes. Oh my goodness. If you guys have not watched those videos, you totally should. Vivek held himself so well. They should have let Vivek answer the questions. Yeah, they were not letting him answer the questions, and that's coming from David, right? David, who just said that, is a leftist. He's pretty liberal, and you know, it's incredible that even people on the left are recognizing how deranged these people are. They don't want to have honest discussions. They don't want to engage in honest debates and discourse. They just yell and shout and scream anybody who disagrees with them away. And we see this often, though. We see this anytime Ben Shapiro goes to a campus, there's protesters. The party of tolerance is the least tolerant people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, they are not very tolerant at all. And I feel like sometimes I'm the only one that is sounding the alarm on the liberal extremism that is happening in this country. Okay, left-wing extremism, in my opinion, is the biggest domestic threat to this country. Okay, the FBI says it's white supremacy, and they try to frame that low-key to say, you know, right-wing extremism or whatever. No, that's not true. Okay, a vast majority of the political violence committed in this country has come from left-wing liberal groups. I don't care what the FBI says. I don't care what the government says. I know what I see with my own two eyes. Okay, I watch extreme political violence, the most political violence we've ever seen in this country, for months straight during the BLM riots, okay? And then I saw it happen again after Roe v. Wade was overturned, in which you had a Supreme Court justice almost get assassinated by a left-wing lunatic. And again, we're still not having conversations about how radicalized these individuals are. Again, the left is so radicalized that you have young college-age liberals advocating for war, right? They want more war, okay? Again, it's kind of crazy to think about. But what we're always talking about is the threat of right-wing violence. Oh my God, those scary right-wingers. When the left has shown that they're extremely violent and they're allowed to get away with it, which is part of the reason why they're so violent. So again, in this situation, you have a left-wing loony who couldn't stand to hear an opinion that was different from theirs, even if it was done in a way that was thoughtful and logical, which is probably what drove them insane, right? The logic that was come out of Vivek's mouth, they probably had no rebuttal for, and it was like, oh God, I'm going insane. I need to crash into this man's car, right? That's probably what happened, in my opinion. That's what I think. That's definitely probably what went through the mind of a leftist. And this is what they result to. Okay, they simply don't know how to disagree and move on with their lives. No, they don't. So you're going to continue to see this type of stuff as long as, you know, the left-wing liberal media and the Democrats continue to tolerate it and celebrate it in some cases. These people have been emboldened, and this is what they're doing. Again, you know, GOP candidates, man, they got to be careful out there on the campaign trail. These left-wing lunatics are insane. They're absolutely insane. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.